Okay.
Yeah, we're recording now. So with Thursday the 30th, just before midday New Zealand time, and just connecting with Neal, who's going to be doing the last class. Actually, it's the only class that's on Monday morning. Every other class is going to be on Sunday. And that completes the 24 hours around the world. So Neal's going to be sharing with us and gifting his class 7:30 to 8:30 Monday morning on the 3rd. And thanks, Neal, for coming on board with this.
Oh, my pleasure. It's an honor to be part of this. Thank you for inviting me, Paul. And we're literally on the same island, aren't we? We're on Waiheke Island, same as you, and you're just a short drive away. So it's going literally around the world, almost back to the same
Right.
place.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So I feel really honored to be part of this and part of the group of an amazing group of teachers that you've put together around the world. That's fantastic. What a great thing to do and a great thing to offer. So I feel privileged and grateful to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you part of this too. And probably some of the audience will know, but you're one of my yoga teachers too. Learned at your contemporary school, and one of my favorite teachers.
Oh,
Neal.
Thank you, Paul. You're one of my teachers too.
Yeah,
nice how we can learn from everyone.
Hey, and Neal's and he doesn't do much body work, but he's an amazing body worker as well. And so it's great. So there's two questions. One is about what your take on embodiment is, and also if you could just briefly describe your class as well.
Yeah, and I open this to be a discussion too, Paul, if you want to add anything.
Sure.
And I was really fascinated to hear what a few other people have mentioned about embodiment. So here's a few little things about embodiment. And I think it's a few things for me. I guess the first part it's coming back to kind of mindfulness, and that means we sort of paying attention, or we begin to pay attention to what's going on, to what's really here, to the present moment, and what's going on in this body, my body, and the body is an exquisite kind of pointer to what is going on for me. So I guess it's and when I say pay attention, it can be quite a hard way of saying things. I like this phrase: a curiosity, and a curious attention, and a soft attention, a kind, friendly attention to meet myself in my body. I think that's probably the first little movement towards embodiment is that this soft attention to myself. And so when I'm paying attention to my body, I'm starting to notice sensation, notice how I'm feeling, and bringing my mind to my body, bringing my mind into my body. So a couple of teachers, I like to quote a couple of teachers here. So Donna Fahey is probably one of my primary teachers, as you know, Paul. And she's got this beautiful quote. When you bring your mind into your body, the body becomes mindful and the mind becomes embodied.
Mm.
When you bring your mind into your body, the body becomes mindful and the mind becomes embodied. So I love this sort of connection. If yoga means to connect, to yoke together, this connection, and seeing how actually there is no separation between mind and body. So well, we may perceive it as though we separate out mind and body, but they're so interwoven together. So I love that quote. So paying attention and bringing and feeling and seeing what there is in our body, sense of so it's like a process, really, a process of embody. It's not like I am just embodied. Perhaps that, but there's also the sense of a process and a practice as well, of with time and practice and giving myself lots of time to notice and what feels there, I can become perhaps more embodied over time. One of the things I sort of also see with embodiment is to, and this is what I sort of like to teach in my practice, and what I said myself is let's say take a part of my body, let's say the fluid body, and how can I embody that? You know, how can I really track in if I consider to myself to be significantly mostly water in various forms? How can I embody that? How can I, if I'm talking about flow yoga, vinyasa flow yoga, how can that go a little bit deeper into actually operating and moving from a sense of my fluid self, my fluid body, and then might track back down to our inheritance, where I came from, which is a more oceanic environment. If we look back on our species as humans, we came from the ocean. So that's just one example. I could talk about embodying the bones or the organs or the nervous system. Ultimately, it all comes together as one beautiful democratic symphony of motion and movement and aliveness in myself. So there's that aspect to embodiment too, paying attention and sort of somehow operating from a more embodied place. So when I'm practicing yoga, it's not just my mind leading me through a class, it's somehow being guided through, being moved by something that's not my mind, that's more in my body, and seeing where that takes me. And that's really fascinating for me, seeing where I might go if I'm really listening in and tuning into this intelligence. I'd say there's an intelligence to our body which we can tap into and why, and maybe make wiser choices in our life based on what our body intelligence says. Finally, maybe with embodiment, I have a quote from my one. I mentioned Donna Fahy as one of my teachers, but I know you've done some work with Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen too, Paul, and I've done a long workshop with her. I've looked at her work for a while, and so has Donna. And but I have a beautiful quote about embodiment from Bonnie, and I'll just track through to reading this. Bonnie says, embodiment emerges from our cells' awareness of themselves. Our cells' awareness of themselves. It is a direct experience. There are no intermediate steps or translations. There is no guide, no witness. Just the fully known consciousness of the experienced moment initiated from the cells. Here, the brain is the last to know. The process of embodiment is a being process, not a doing process. It is an awareness process, not a thinking process. There is a complete knowing and peaceful comprehension. Out of this embodiment process emerges feeling, sensing, thinking, witnessing, understanding, compassion. The source of this process is free. It is love. I really love that.
Fantastic.
She's such a beautiful, deep teacher. She's an incredible embodied teacher as well. I love the sense of like when I really embody something, when I really embody kind of, there is no effort.
Yes.
You know, there is no need to do anything. We just are that. That's another aspect of embodiment, of mastery, I guess.
Yeah.
Please.
I love that quote. That's fantastic. That is so close to just really well explained, really well explained, because it's because there's so many different facets to it. It's quite difficult to come up with a succinct few sentences. But so how are you going to be linking that into your classes? Because you're doing and I'm loving I'm really happy that you're going to be closing the 24 hours with a inner resource and some yoga nidra.
Yeah, so the inner resource work, I'm really drawing on my studies and on the iRest yoga nidra meditation practice, which I've been studying for some time. Actually, I first came across Richard Miller's work back in 2005, 2006, and then studied with him in 2013 and onwards from there. And with the inner resource, it's really looking for an exploring and an inquiry, a self-inquiry into where can I find support? Where can I find an anchor that helps me be more resilient in my life, or and where can I find that perhaps in myself, or what is a door, like, what is a doorway to that? So a doorway would be something like what makes me feel really at ease in my life, and really settled, and where I can just be and I can feel well. And if I reflect on those in my life, I mean, I would say my family are really a big resource for me. I feel really settled with my family and at ease. And for other people, it might be a place in nature, or it might be a pet, for example, or a practice, or a teacher. So we can have this inquiry about what are things in our life that makes us feel really at ease. In terms of the embodiment aspect of that, is that, okay, so when I am with my inner resource, or I'm in calling that up, what is the sensation of that? What is the feeling of this? Where do I experience that in my body? How do I experience that in my body? And ultimately, we can even let the doorway in, like, or the memory of an inner resource go, and we're just left with the sensation of this experience, using all our senses. And so, yeah, so it's inviting an embodied felt sense of an inner resource. So when things are challenging in our life, and there always will be, whether it be where we find ourselves in the world at the moment, with the virus going around, or anything else in our life, on a daily basis, we have a sense of the possibility of an inner resource coming up to meet and support us. So I feel like I practice this. I'm lucky. I live with my family, and we're pretty close. So I am constantly with my inner resource. It really gives me a great ground of well-being. Not that it's always easy. I mean, families, and we have ups and downs sometimes, but generally I guess, if I was to say my family, I could say what's beneath that. It's love. It's a bit like what Bonnie was just saying. It is love. So I guess my inner resource is a sense of love. Mm-hmm. How does that feel?
And something you can tap into, as you say, theoretically at any time, wherever you might be, you can tap in. The idea is that you come into yourself, so you feel, as you say, grounded in a place that is, I don't know, secure, comfortable.
Yes.
Your place of solitude, place to get out of your head stuff, all these crazy things come back. So I think that's probably, I mean, so many different aspects, probably one of the most useful things that we can share with people is that they can get back to a place of that in themselves, which is one reason why we're calling this whole zooming around the world the embodiment of ease, or embodying ease.
Yeah, and I loved what many of the other teachers have been saying. It's been such a resonance with me, what they've been sharing, and about the sense of, like, our practices are here to create more ease. And to come back home to this present moment, to this body, and seeing what's there, and how can we meet? How can we meet whatever's arising, whether it's a beautiful moment in nature, or whether it's a challenging moment, and how can I be at ease with that?
Yeah, fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do your class because it's local in the morning for me.
Yes.
Because I haven't done one of your classes for a long time, so I'm real. Anything else you want to say about your class, or?
No, I think that's it. I just welcome whoever comes, and I'd love to see whoever's coming, and to share from myself and my heart, and from this practice, which I love so much, and I feel really just privileged. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. We'll close off in just a minute, but we'll chat for a couple more minutes afterwards, But
okay.
Thanks, Neal.
Thank you, Paul. Namaste.
Thank you so much. See you Monday morning.
Monday morning. I'll see you then.